Factions, some have 3, some have 4, some have more. But which one of these groups is going to enter the winner's door? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. It's Factions of the Year 2002. It looks like there could only be one winner, and in the end, there was.
Too sweet. It was the NWO with 60% of the vote. That's quite a lot. I mean, that's every 6 out of 10 is voting for the NWO. But anybody with a brain...
No shit.
Anyone with a brain knows there was 2 versions of the NWO. You had Hulk Hogan and the Outsiders. Then you had Booker T, Big Show, X-Pac, Shawn Michaels,
Waltman,
Kevin Nash, Scott Hall for about 10 minutes, and Hogan was no longer there. For me, I wouldn't give it to the NWO.
You wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't, no.
Oh, I can see why the NWO's won it. I mean, I can get what you're saying. Like, there was another good faction on this awards list that I think should have won it, but nah, NWO. I mean, McMahon injecting the poison. Hogan, Hall, Nash, despite it not lasting very long, I mean, realistically, how long did it actually last? Maybe 2 months? The original group?
Here, it was great for the first couple of weeks, months, right? But I think it's got to be the Un-Americans. Un-Americans were consistently good until they added William Regal, who I love. And
well, let's go through it, because the Un-Americans didn't even get second. So NWO in first with 60%, Dudley's in second with 25%, Un-Americans in third with 8%, just beating out 3 Minute Warning in fourth with 7%. Right, NWO, how long was the original 3 even? Wait, what version of them stayed for 3 members the longest? Was this run longer than the original run?
No, I think this was longer, yeah.
By like a week or 2?
The original NWO had a Big Show pretty quick.
But no, it's crazy. See, when I think of the best version of the NWO, I always think of Hogan, Hall, and Nash. But even when you look at the WWE version and the WCW version, Hogan, Hall, and Nash had a month, and maybe a bit more as a trio. The NWO as a trio is not really. If you add up the combined spells, I mean, you're lucky if you're getting 10 weeks.
No, I agree, but 60% is what they got. The Dudleys come in with 25%. I think incredibly high for the Dudleys.
Well, let's talk about the NWO.
Oh, hold on, we've talked about the NWO.
Yeah, well, we haven't talked about the secondary version.
Well, I'd rather not talk about the secondary version.
What was so bad about it?
I'll tell you what was so bad about it. The fact that Shawn Michaels was half drugged out but half Christian at the same time. You had Kevin Nash who couldn't work, Scott Hall who got fired after the Playing Ride for Hell, Big Show who just gets put in everything, sucks, X-Pac who had the worst 2001 known to man, crying about having 2 belts, Mick Foley coming out and letting him sniff his socks or something. I don't know what was going on. It just wasn't very good.
Well, hold on, what was X-Pac's fucking team in 2001? X Factor?
Aye, him,
Just Incredible and Big Albert. That wee theme, how gay was that? Remember that gay theme that they had?
X Factor there! Could that have been
And I'm gonna be alright, because you know that X Factor, no?
I know you're on it.
Anyway, that was garbage. I think the NWO tops it. I just think for the iconic group and the status, I'm sorry, you got Hulk Hogan, Hall, and Nash.
Right, I'll get to the NWO slightly, but for me...
Right, let's talk about, you've said that piece, let's talk about number 2 here, the Dudleys. I love the Dudleys, but if we're talking about the Dudleys as a faction, I mean, really, Devon only returned to Raw, I mean, not that long before the end of the year. I mean, I guess there was a period where they were together and hanging around before the brand split, but for me, when I think of 2002, I think of Bubba's single run on Raw, I think of Devon's single run on SmackDown. I don't necessarily think of them as a group or a faction or a tag team, and I'm shocked that they got 17% more than the Un-Americans.
I'm shocked as well. Obviously people looking at this list don't know 2002. They know the Dudleys more than the Un-Americans. I think that's what it is. I mean, as you said, Dudleys weren't around for a long time, and even when they were, it's like they were doing great shit. As for the Un-Americans, very good, very great. Christian, Lance Storm, Test, some of the best work of their careers in here.
Yeah, great faction. I mean, people might just say, "Oh, it's your average anti-American fact." Nah, but some of the promos were absolutely great here. You had the tag team championships on Christian and Lance Storm. They felt like credible champions. Lance Storm, I think, having the best run of his career, actually cutting some good promos. Yeah, he was boring while cutting them, but they were still decent. Let's not take it away from him. And then you had Test, who was pretty over at this point, taking out Kane. You had Test going one-on-one with The Undertaker. Teddy Long didn't even set it up at SummerSlam. These guys were treated as a big deal. Unfortunately, towards the end, they added in William Regal, and I love William Regal, but I don't know, I just feel like when they added him in, the dynamic wasn't the same. I get it, they're still an American, but it quickly became 3 Canadians and a Brit, didn't it? And just wasn't that great.
No, absolutely, but for me, what wasn't very good, we get 3 Canadians, but we get a 3-minute warning. 7%. I think it's a disgrace that they're only 1% off the Un-Americans.
Yeah, you've got Rico, Jamal, and Rosie here. And, I think sometimes you remember things more fondly, and then when you rewatch it, you go, that really wasn't good. Because I actually thought 3-Minute Warning were a good tag team, a good faction. But after rewatching the year 2002, once they started actually competing as members of the roster, it was fucking all over, I think.
Yeah.
As good as it got for 3-Minute Warning was when they were aligned with Bischoff, and Bischoff was calling them out to come out and do beatdowns. As soon as that ended, it was all downhill for 3-Minute Warning. And a terrible... it's actually mental that 7% are voting for 3-Minute Warning.
There's a lot of factions like this, though, where their best work is not in the ring, and I think these guys are that, pretty much.
I'll be complete. I think the Shield's best stuff was at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. But it's time to move into the comments. We've got Biggie, NWO for life, for life. We've got the cat in there. The cat wants Dreamies for life. Purple Perk says the best part of the NWO and the WWE was that they brought back Shawn Michaels. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a decent...
It was weird though. Michaels came out at what pay-per-view was it? Was it Vengeance? And he was like, yeah, forget about the NWO Triple H. I'll join Raw with you.
Yeah, it wasn't even like it was a fucking, who are you going to pick? Triple H? Is it going to be DX or NWO? I mean, the NWO just disappeared.
They did.
Literally just 1 week he turned on Raw and they weren't there.
Mr. Johnny says Vince squashed the NWO in a couple of months just to prove a point and massage his ego. I disagree. No, let's call a spade, Johnny, alright? Hogan was too over to be a heel and they changed him at Mania. That's what happened.
Yeah, and
then Hall and Nash were unreliable, and then they tried to add members. He brought Michaels back to try and make it work. Let's not say he didn't fucking try.
Yeah, I doubt he brought Shawn Michaels back with the intention of killing it 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and then Nash getting injured in that 5-on-5 match summed it up. But Nash got hurt and Hall got fired. Yep, exactly.
Because see if Nash wasn't getting injured, and if Hall wasn't getting fired, I reckon the NWO would have lasted. Probably for 2002. Who's to say they wouldn't still be around?
I agree. NWO really 2002. It lasted about a month with Hogan, Hall, and Nash. Then it went tits up. We got 5 replies. It was good while it lasted, brother. Exactly, it was good while it lasted. It was a train wreck. It was like watching current Pele play Keep You Ups with Prime Name. Pele's dead, isn't he?
Well, no, he might still be alive. Like, you can say what you want. No, I thought it was good. I mean, we got the NWO versus Rock and Austin. Jesus Christ, we got The Rock getting ran over in a semi. That even made the game shut your mouth.
Yeah, no, it did.
So let's
people getting called fuds here, right? NWO was a great group, but not in 2002. They had too many off-screen issues, which led to the premature ending of it. I honestly thought they were heading towards an NWO for DX rivalry before it ended. It kind of did look that way, but I mean, there's always that talk of DX against the Outsiders at Mania 23. That would have been weird, wouldn't it?
What would it have been? What does a 2002 NWO DX look like?
Billy Gunn was still in the company, so was X-Pac. He was in both, though.
Billy Gunn was in SmackDown. What does a Raw version look like? X-Pac, Michaels, and Triple H versus Big Show, Nash, and Booker.
That's awful.
It's a bit of a fucking mess.
It is. Jordan Ponder says NW was trash around this time, and the Dudleys got split in 02. Aye, they did.
Makes me wonder why Un-Americans didn't smash this award then.
Yeah, but the Dudleys reunited. They were at the start of the year together, at the end of the year together. You don't know your history.
Omega Mark says 3-Minute Warning was the dominant faction that year. The Dudleys were on the downslide. NWO lasted about a month, and the Un-Americans are best left forgotten. How can somebody think that 3-Minute Warning was a dominant faction, but the Un-Americans should be left forgotten?
This guy's a fud.
Omega mark, I mean, that tells you all.
Tells you all you need to know. And then Aaron says the NWO. Anyway,
New
guys,
World Order, brother.
that's us done with the faction. We'll be back with another video soon.
Un-Americans beating the NWO? That don't work for me, brother.